Recording in progress.
Namaste, divine beings. Welcome to this moment of Mahasivaratri as we journey together. This period of Mahasivaratri is one of the most joyful periods of time as we begin to understand whom we really are. Being the spirit, having the human experience means being Lord Siva and celebrating the grace of being the unlimited. Mahasivaratri time is when whatever we do is magnified. When we say we wake up, we are expanding our consciousness. At Mahasivaratri time, any inputs within us, likewise, is of much more effect, especially when we work with mantras. With all the yogis and rishis and saints, that consciousness, their blessings, is transferred by way of mantras. Go back into all the stories, the thousands of stories of each being wanting to be greater than themselves, needing a reality. They find the solution in attaining the mantra. And with the attainment of mantra, the energy within that mantra, that deity, God within that mantra, we become. From Ramayana with Siddha sage Valmiki, being transformed by way of the mantra Rama 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 Rama, he becomes from a criminal, he becomes a saint, a sage who ultimately writes the entirety of the Ramayana was based on receiving a mantra Rama 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 Rama. In our personal experiences, we would all know that when we are chanting the mantra, we are in that divine vortex of vibrations. And this vibrancy is what allows our mind to be in a meditative zone. To be in the mantra is to constantly expand our consciousness while allowing the mind to blossom in its pristine nature of no thought, calm, harmony. In our pathway pathway of the journey through light and fire, every moment we are chanting the mantra, we are empowering our power of intellect too. When the mind is held in one singular focus with joy and passion for a long extent of time or any extent of time, whatever is that intent, whatever is the energy field from the mantra, that we become. Now, when our Siddha sages have taken up the mantra and they've been chanting that mantra over days, months and years, and the mantra energy within serves the being as whenever they are hungry, whenever they are in need of anything, to bring forth to them wherever they are, even if they are in the depth of the forest, that the mantra is now live as the entity worshipped. So when we receive a mantra from an enlightened master, we are receiving a part of their consciousness. And this consciousness, this vibrancy that we are receiving now is like a cosmic seed that grows within us to be whom we are, the divine entity. Through this period of time of Mahasivaratri, when we are converging our mind and source connecting, our mantras are now amplifying itself to be more effective, more of efficacy, more of energy of the invoked. There are the 6 dimensions within the mantra that we would like to absorb. First is to receive the SivaSivaa Deeksha, receiving the mantra with all the energies and blessings as the Shaktipat energy is auspiciousness of Mahasivaratri. The SivaSivaa mantra is that which has been encoded in all the ancient Lord Siva temples by the Siddha masters. SivaSivaa is the mantra that awakens us, enlightens us, allows the I to become the we, guides the breath to the breath beyond breath, awakens our beingness. C is momentum, change, realities. E is the goddess. E is the left breath of Mother Kundalini. E is energy, matter and time. Va is experience. Va is also consciousness, the Guru. Va is the now. Ah is the pillar of light. Ah is awakening to be the vast, infinite being, SIVA. Ah. SivaSivaa is the blessings to be the light. So let's receive this mantra. SIVA. You take SIVA and put it upside down. Vasi. Vasi is breath. SIVA is breath beyond breath. So when you're saying SivaSivaa, feel the breath and feel the breath beyond breath. Now, we are going to take the mantra into our subconsciousness. So when you're saying the mantra aloud, it's actually an exhale. When you're inhaling, you're saying the mantra within ourselves. When you retain the breath, you're saying the mantra within ourselves. When you exhale, do not inhale. Hold that particular space and there we will say the mantra. Take a deep inhale, reciting the mantra. Within, feel the mantra. Exhale the mantra slowly. Hold the breath. Feel the mantra within. Inhale. This is an ideal mantra to go deep within, utilizing breath and that beyond breath. So, we hold this mantra as this mantra to understand the 6 empowering dimensions of working the mantras. What we are to learn today is applicable for any mantra we chant. A mantra being the bridge between that which is reality and that which is what we intend, that which is unmanifested to that which we are manifesting, that which is finite to the infinity that we are bringing forth. So when we are going into the mantra, we are stepping into the grace of Mandiram. Mandiram is the essence magic within the mantra. Mandiram is the root of mantra. Mandiram is to create that magnificence of the mantra through the mantra. So, as we go into utilizing SivaSivaa as the Mandiram, we imbibe this wisdom by our experiential doings now. First, with any mantra, venerate the Guru whom we are receiving the mantra from, and the lineage of all the Gurus within that mantra. So when you say SivaSivaa, simply bring your focus with your mind in gratefulness for having the mantra. Your palms together, feel the mantra, feel the grace within the mantra, feel all the Gurus in the mantra, feel all the beings of light who have been reciting the mantra before us, with us now, and being the spirit. Let's say the mantra and receive the blessing. And receive the blessings. Whatever we do outside ourselves, we are doing inside ourselves. A mantra really is to alight our own inner lamp, our own inner fire. A mantra and the inner fire is one. So, when we are saying the mantra, now let's visualize the lamp lit within ourselves. Take a deep inhale, go down to the root chakra and feel the light being lit inside ourselves at the root chakra, rising upwards along the spine. Light within ourselves, climbing all the way up, and feel the crown chakra, the chakra above the head, feel that being activated. mantra is a chakra. When you're holding the mantra, it is the momentum moving and whirling. Know the chakras inside ourselves. When you're saying the mantra, feel the chakra spin. Feel whenever we are chanting the mantra, grip the mantra in such a way where you are holding that core epicenter and else whirl the mantra around. This is with any and every mantra as a pivotal point. Every mantra has that epicenter from where we are able to move the mantra along and swing it like a chakra. Lord Krishna's Sudarshana chakra is the power of the mantra. The epicenter within every mantra holds the power and the key. So let's go into SivaSivaa mantra and be the epicenter. Now when you're chanting the mantra 108 times, if we have the beads, and if we are working with the beads, say it 108 times. What if we don't have the beads? Let the mantra go on perpetually, it does not matter. It is very much like when you're doing a yagna, the sacred fire. Which direction do we sit? Instead, if the yagna itself is circular, it does not matter where we sit. Likewise it does not matter how many times you're doing it as long as you're doing it all the time. So, while doing it all the time, we are spinning the mantra, whirling with the mantra, and at the same time being the epicenter at all times. So let's feel the mantra from our own inner vibrancy. The path of light is states of joy. In the cosmic union is the supreme states of joy. This cosmic union, where we are merging our finite with the infinite, where our ego is dissolving into source light, is states of joy, happiness, bliss. This is within every mantra. Within every mantra is this divine joy that flows as nectar as we go into the resonance. So, when you are saying the mantra, go into the states of joy within the mantra. When we were doing music recording for Siddha chant music of Turiyanada, we realized we could not create the music the traditional way because the music was coming from the mantra. The core was coming from the mantra. So when we realized that this innermost core from which was creating the music needed to be taken aside to be creating the music, we were able to accomplish creating Turiyanada music. So when you are going into the mantra, now we are tapping into the epicenter of the mantra from where there is source unions, and in the source unions are the states of joy and ecstasy. Let's tap into that. Deeper and deeper into the light of ecstasy and joy, we will notice that we are naturally becoming still. The stillness that we are experiencing is the grace blessings. It is this stillness that incubated all the masters. Any realized master would have been given the grace of stillness. And this state of stillness comes from the vibrant ecstasy, the dancer within of the mantra. So let's go into the mantra. The mantra has the power to take us beyond breath. When we ask a question, who am I? And that question is answered as I am. The I am is of this life, the past life, and all the lives before that. The I am is whom we are before our birth and after our death. So, when we are saying the mantra, we are the I am that has gone through several lifetimes and death circles. we are invoking that light that we have been seeking through all the many, many births and deaths and all the lifetimes in the now. So when you're saying the mantra, be aware of the mantra as the supreme consciousness within that has witnessed all the many lifetimes, and in this lifetime we are blossoming in the light. So there's breath, and there's breath beyond breath. My Guruji, Siddha, Raja Sami Rajkumar Swamigal, one day he called me into his room and he directed me to remove all my clothes, and we closed all the windows, and then he went into the depth of the mantra, and I had my eyes closed, but all I could see was a golden light emanating from his body. And then I could feel a breath beyond breath. And that breath beyond breath, I felt it reaching me. And thereafter, when I would meditate, I felt that breath beyond breath. I had done a music CD, Cave of the Siddha, and I was a bit shy giving it to my Guru, Raja Sami, and he listened to the music and called me back and said, my Guru told me that it takes 7 years for the mantra given to awaken the Kundalini and bring the entirety of energies of the mantra. It would take 7 years. And when he tells me, when he was listening to the music, the chant, he said, I felt now that my Guru was so right about how well the energies have come together. But what he said was that with me there had been 6 Siddha Gurus who came through the mantras. Now with the mantras, there seems to be many, many, many beings of light. In other words, the mantras carry with them the ancient presence. And this presence comes from the breath beyond breath. So when you're saying the mantra, invoke all the beings of light. Let all the beings of light come in through the mantra and come as the breath beyond breath. Adi Sankara, the modern day father of Hinduism, mentions bhakti, divine love, and wisdom is one and the same. The more we know Source God, the more wisdom we have. The more wisdom we have, the more we want those unions. So in the mantra is divine love. When we are grateful for divine love as the first and the foremost of all that which we could be grateful for. Divine love. So let's go into the mantra and let's tap into the essence of our pathway, which is divine love. In life we'll be facing all the challenges. We face whatever the reality is by bringing that reality into better, bringing that perception and that which is around us into the sacred fires. Every moment, whatever is that which is dwelling around us as thought, as what we perceive, and that which is, bring it in. Learn that ultimately the power and the grace of Source in infinity is that which overrides all. And that power is within us. That light is within us to bring forth and reset and realign and absorb our realities to go forth. Unlimited. So when you're saying the mantra, know divine love as that which you're holding deeply within us as the mantra and the faith within the mantra, the resonance within the mantra, the light within the mantra, the grace within the mantra. Ultimate supreme love is from within. If we have woken up, we learn to love ourselves. We love the source union joys. We love to being the love itself. So when you're saying the mantra, bring all the love that we have within. When we receive blessings of the mantra, we are receiving an additional vaster consciousness. If we are to leave one consciousness to another consciousness, it is earned by Dharma. If we slip from one conscious to the other, it is the imprints of karma. So when we are working with our mantra, to make that mantra effective, Dharma plays a role in the energy fields that helps us consummate that vibration into ourselves. During Mahasivaratri time, when we are fasting and when we are going through different places as pilgrimages, and we constantly feed and feed and feed beings, while we are fasting, we realize that those beings whom we are feeding are serving us the supreme gift of being there. Simply being there, they are able to receive what we are doing. This is the time during Mahasivaratri time to do goodness, to think of goodness, to do Dharma in all possible ways of goodness. Notice how all the enlightened endeavors would be done in the name of the Guru. Sivananda Yoga was done by Vishnu Devananda. Likewise, most of the enlightened work is done in the name of the Gurus, because that is the energy field that is making it happen. The grace of consciousness, the grace of the light lineage, the grace within the mantra. So, when we are saying the mantra, also know that we are activating the greater you. And the greater you, the greater whoever we are, is the realities with the being the higher thought, doing goodness, being Dharma. So when you're saying the mantra, just imagine ourselves doing good. Just the power of thought of doing good. So, divine beings, there were 6 dimensions of working with the mantra. Let me recite the 6. So we incorporate it with all the mantras that we chant. We incorporate it with a Mahasivaratri journey. And we incorporate it into our every moment blessings. The first, with the mantra, venerate the Guru behind the mantra, and the light lineage within the mantra. Alight your lamp. Ultimately, this is between ourselves and Source God. And when we light a lamp, we are connecting. Let that lamp that we've lit within ourselves be the lamp and sacred fire within ourselves growing up as Mother Kundalini. Nurture that light. Absorb and activate and whirl the mantra constantly. At all times we are the mantra energy field dancing and whirling. We are really being the timelessness dancing in time. We are the infinite dancer now in stillness. We are the light within now, in stillness, receiving all the wisdom we need simply vibrantly dancing. No, the core dancer within the mantra is the grace of stillness, the epicenter within the mantra. Connect breath and the breath beyond breath with the mantra. As you say the mantra, know the nectars of source unions. Step into timelessness alongside is breath beyond breath, the samadhi wisdom. Samadhi state is that which makes one the realized master. And the mantra, every mantra holds that blessing. Be the joy and the ecstasy of divine love from within the mantra. Bhakti, the supreme grace, and consummate the mantra by being Dharma, by being the vibrancies, by being the instrument, the sacred instrument of the divine. With this, the mantras are empowered.
Recording stopped.
So, divine beings, through this Mahasivaratri is this epic journey through the light and sacred fires. In today's dimension of our journey is the grace blessings of SivaSivaa and knowing how mantras have become the mandiram, the supreme magic of transformation from the I to the we, from the dance to the stillness. Through all of this is the unfolding of each day. The next event is invoking the 6 avatar mantras. Each of the avatar mantras has a blessing to offer us. Would love for us to be the blessings of the 6 avatar graces. As we go further, are going to be all the various other dimensions of our Mahasivaratri programs. So, join in, and wherever we are, let's awaken ourselves to being Lord Siva. SivaSivaa, Siva, Siva, Siva. To be the infinite light. And in this transformation, we are the yogi. We are the masters. And we allow ourselves to be liberated in the light. So, divine beings, would love to take your questions, insights and thoughts. Question. Why is Mahasivaratri the time for enlightenment? Every month there is a cycle of the full moon and the new moon. And towards the new moon is the time when we are more aligned to expanding consciousness. But Mahasivaratri is the once in a year moment when the cosmological alignment is most powerful. So, Mahasivaratri has been observed by all sages and yogis for thousands of years as the single most important time of the year to attain the greatest and the grandest seekings of a human, which is Mahasivaratri. It's a question. Please excuse me if you have already said so. How should one prepare the mind for meditation? Okay. Ideally have a cold shower if possible. Wash water over your forehead. Light a candle or lamp. Open a window slightly so you have the element of air coming in. And then before you sit down to meditate, make sure you have a safe, your space is clear. And then also know that you are going into, when saying meditation, going to have ecstasy with the sacred divine. When you are in ecstasy with the sacred divine, you're meditating through every moment. Of course, going into source union, that we call as puja, the worship. So, when you go into meditation, simply know that we are going in to have the ultimate, supreme time of joy. And that is conducive to being meditative. Yes. Question. Does it help amplify mantras if we hold certain crystals or Rudraksha beads? The crystals and Rudraksha beads definitely holds energy, and when we are working with mantras and when we hold the Rudraksha to count or the crystal, it does definitely help, it does definitely enhance, and it is recommended. But it's also another dimension as we can do without it. But if we have it, it does help. So there's always the option. If we don't have it, still we are still in we can still go into the mantra zone of being with the energy field invoked. But then when you work with the crystal beads and Rudraksha beads, they absorb this energy. So when you wear it around your neck, after or before we've accumulated those energies. So over a period of time, maybe a few years or so, when you're wearing the same Rudraksha or when you're wearing the same bead, whatever bead you're wearing, in a moment you can connect to the energies you've already generated. Yes. Question. How to remove the negative thoughts that come at the time of meditation? Now this is a very normal thing that happens. Thoughts coming in, negative thoughts coming in, anxiety, all of this. This is why when we say meditation, which is not about going and having a blank mind, because when you have a blank mind, our mind is going to dwell on what is the realities that is. Instead, you would want to dwell the mind in source connecting to source, God. Give your thought, good, bad and ugly, into that light. Exhaust it out. Exhaust the mind. When tapas comes into play, tapas is the sacred fire within that is constantly burning with an intent. The impossible has been transformed to the possible. Anything is possible when you go into tapas. And we set the intent and constantly work the mantra with the divine. Everything is possible. And now, when we know we've given everything into Source God, our mind will understand it's done its job of letting go. And now, whatever the reality is the outcome of that which we have gone into in intent of tapas. Yes. So, divine beings, grateful for your presence here. Looking forward to your light through the Mahasivaratri program. The final program is February 28th, when we all come together to invoke Lord Siva along with our intent, 1080 times chanting. The next day, March 1st, meditate through the day. Tap into being whom we are, the awake masters, the sages who now bring forth heavens as realities for humanity. Looking forward, divine beings, to your blessed presence as we journey through. Om Namah Shivaya. Om. Grateful for the moments we shared together. To learn more or to connect with Nandhiji, email us awake@nandhi.com, NANDHI.com, or visit our website nandhiji.com, NANDHIJI.com. In grace and blessings as one. Om Namah Shivaya.